Hi everyone. This session is on telecom expense management and IT financial management. This session is important because finance isn't just a matter of cost and bill management, but it also includes planning, budgeting, forecasting, project portfolios, and can lead to the strategy of IT. And those who understand IT finance and not just expense management are going to be ahead of the rest of the pack and well positioned for the future. Our speakers here are Dana Risley, who has over 15 years of experience in the IT and telecom industry and represents Upland Simple's telecom expense management in the United States. And Robert Bracco, who is the Director of Product Marketing for Upland's Project and Financial Management Solution. He has 20 plus years of progressive management experience in financial planning and accounting, information security, and cost-benefit analysis. Please get ready to participate in the chat room, ask your questions, and press pound, pound, pound together to clap for Dana and Robert. Thank you, Dana and Robert. The show's all yours.
Greetings to everyone joining us online in these uncertain times. We want to thank Hyun Park and the Amalgam Insights team for hosting this virtual event for us. We're very excited about the opportunity to share Upland's thoughts on telecom expense management, IT financial management, and their relationship to the enterprise, and looking forward to having a nice session with everyone. My name is Dana Risley. I'm a senior account executive here at Upland with many years of experience in the IT and telecom space, and I'm very excited to be joined by Bob Bracco, and we'll give Bob a second to introduce himself.
Yeah, thanks, Dana. Really appreciate it. So everyone, really great to be with you today. My name is Bob Bracco, Director of Product Development here, responsible for the telecom expense management and the IT financial management practice here within the organization. So Dana, back to you.
Very good. Thank you, Bob. As we move into our topic today, one of the things we wanted to talk about was the difference and the commonalities between TEM, Telecom Expense Management, and ITFM, or IT Financial Management Solutions, and their place in the enterprise. As organizations have grown throughout the years, they have deployed accounting and financial solutions, commonly known as ERPs, that cover a complete picture of the finances and operations of the organization. What they don't cover is the granularity necessary to support IT organizations, telecom organizations, and the convergence of those within the enterprise. So as these organizations have evolved and added to their capabilities, ITFM solutions or TBM solutions and telecom expense management solutions have taken their place to support the details and the operations necessary to keep IT running, to keep the communication services running, and they have started also to converge into each other. So we are going to talk about today how telecom expense management is a supporting or subsidiary solution to the overall ITFM or TBM solution, and how those solutions together are a subsidiary solution to the global or the enterprise ERP and keeps the organization running smoothly with all of the information and supporting analytics. Some interesting statistics that Gartner has published show a little bit about the trends in spend and whether or not spending is going up or down. Obviously, COVID-19 and the current environment is impacting the actuals or the realities of our world today. But one very interesting trend is the fact that while communication services spend is not necessarily increasing, again, that may change when we see actual statistics following these last 3, 4, 5 months. But it is still a larger portion of the overall IT budget than it was in the past. So its impact on the profitability, the cost structure, and the operations of each organization is growing even as we are trying to reduce costs, as we are getting more efficient services, going through infrastructure changes, digital transformation, et cetera. Is still a very, very large portion in the 1/3 range of your total IT spend.
Hey, thanks, Dana, for bringing that. And a couple of interesting facts that we're seeing out there in the space in the market is that Gartner is talking about by 2024, 70% of CIOs are going to have a dedicated ITFM solution or system to help them provide that clarity and do the analyzing all of their IT spend. That's a very strong statement, right? That just tells you how quickly that the entire organizations are really just spending a large, voluminous amount of money to really run their business, and that organizations or CIOs in this case here really need a solution to manage it. The days of doing it through Excel or some manual ways, or even relying on ERP systems to do it, those are long gone. You can't do that anymore. You need a purpose-built solution suite to help you manage that and really give you the insight into your total cost across the entire organization. So let's talk about some of the value points here as well. So for those of you who are probably very familiar with this, having experience in the telecom background or telecom industry, right, there are some commonalities that do happen within between TEM and ITFM, although they are disparate and different practices. But really the value of an ITFM solution is to deliver that cost transparency. All right, the ability to aggregate that data, bring it together, provide that insight across the entire IT organization has huge value, okay, because many CIOs and CTOs are realizing you've outgrown the days of Excel or doing it manually, right? You need a purpose-built solution, as I mentioned a minute ago, to deliver this. Number one. Number two, you need some sort of accountability and accounting rigor behind it, okay? Repeatable processes. All too often when we go in, we work with our client base or prospects that are coming in, they're saying we're doing Excel and we've essentially outgrown it. Right? Or we're utilizing a financial solution internally that just really was not built to do this. That is the value and the purpose of an ITFM solution, is deliver that value to your organization and really help you manage it. And part of it too, what organizations are doing, they're realizing that as they're delivering these ITFM solutions or they're in the organization today, these ecospheres of excellence, specifically talking around PPM and telecom expense and other areas, plug in very well to an ITFM solution and really help drive that value point and give that customer 360 and that IT or view or spend 360, if you will, across the entire organization. Now, one thing you've probably heard more often than not, and we hear it a lot on the TBM and the ITFM side, but it really applies to the telecom side as well. You can run IT like a business. It provides a lot of value to do that and really change your thought process, right? Because again, telecom is about the transactional level detail, right? The things that make up those communication bits and bytes, if you will, that really are the backbone to our organizations. And you need to really effectively operate that like a business and handle that information like that, because your business partners and your consumers, they want to understand, what am I consuming? Okay, I'm being charged on a regular basis, monthly, whatever it may be, from IT for all these different products and services. Telecom has that great value point where the customer of yours can pull the lever and make changes, right? So by way of example, understanding the devices or assets that are assigned to people within the organization have great value, and being able to give that visibility not only to the telecom group, but also to the business owners, so they can actually make those informed decisions and say, well, hey, I have an employee, they have a wireless device, they have a tablet, and they've got, say, a desk phone, although a lot of folks aren't using desk phones anymore, we're moving to mobile, right? It's now the business can actually make the decision, do I need to have all three of these products assigned to a person, or can I begin maybe returning some of those back in inventory and getting them out of my view so I don't need them anymore? So by way of example, we've seen for the past 3 months, 4 months, through the entire COVID thing, is the great move to a remote workforce, right? People did not go into the office a couple of days before the office is closed for a period of time and take their desk phone with them. They left the desk phone behind. Organizations are realizing, wow, do I really need these when I've been able to move a lot of my communications to people's laptops, my employees' laptops, and their cellular devices, right? I can now make that call. Do I really need that when we return back to normal? Or can I return that back in stock, if you will, and then I won't need it, and my costs go down across the organization or the businesses I'm actually responsible for. So the whole phrase, or the phrase running IT like a business, really applies very well to telecom, as it does with all other parts of services that are under a successful ITFM and TVM program. Now, a couple of things we do want to show you too and talk about, and I want to get into a couple of use cases as well. So Gartner and Forrester, their view on the impact of TEM and ITFM and TVM is very much in line with what we do here at Upland Software, okay, is that we see these, as I had mentioned earlier, as ecospheres of excellence or centers of excellence, and each have their own really great practice wrapped around them. When you start bringing all of this together, the C-suite and senior management can now have that 360 view of all IT costs. They can get that information very quickly, whereas prior it was maybe disparate or spread across different groups, and decision making was being made not in near real time. By bringing all that information together, you are now providing that view very quickly and that information quickly to senior management, so they can really understand what's going on in the space and in the industry within my groups and within the areas of responsibility I own. Then they can make those informed decisions based upon the information coming in, as opposed to having to wait and say, okay, go meet with the telecom team, get their information, right? You know, I've got a couple of people in my group that are responsible for aggregating that data. Go out, get that information. It's a day or week or two before I get it back. Go out to my other groups. By the time I pull all that information together, all right, I'm now making decisions on information that is days, if not weeks old, right? That's not an effective process, if you will. That is not a really good place to be. Okay, senior management wants to make those decisions in near real time, being able to do that, and that's where bringing all that information together really has great value. Also, at the same time, it has some side benefits as well. So by way of example, you can actually rationalize your vendors, okay? And we'll get into a couple of use cases here. We're able to say, do I really need to have 4 or 5 vendors out there doing these various bubbles of information regarding TEM and ITFM and different areas? Are there vendors where can I work to consolidate some of my vendors and bring that all together, right? And that's some of the use cases we're going to go through here. There's also cost savings opportunities as well, being able to do that too if you keep it under one umbrella, as well as a couple of other benefits that we're going to talk about here in a second. So very quickly, I'll give you a couple of use cases we've seen here within Upland. So case number one is a large hospital located in Texas, okay? They are probably the #1 trauma center located in the Texas area, all right? And what they've been able to do is they had a requirement where they needed a TEM solution, they needed an ITFM solution. At the same time, they needed a project and portfolio solution suite. So previously, they had different vendors in there supporting those services, okay? We met with them it's been about 2 years now when we met with them. We showcased our value add there, and their value add was really, they were utilizing Upland's PPM solution suite to deliver the project and portfolio management. And they said, well, wait a minute. We understand that Upland, you offer ITFM services, which is really a requirement for us to get our IT spend, get visibility into that, and really start producing a bill of IT back to the businesses. Oh, and by the way, we see that you have a telecom expense management solution suite as well that we have a requirement too. Short story long, we were able to work with them, bring all of those services together, and within a very short time frame, they were able to actually start producing a bill of IT out to the different areas that they support. And within that, under a single umbrella, they were able to provide all that information. So let me understand all my application costs. Let me understand all my end user services. Oh, and by the way, on top of that, I'm able to see any projects that I'm working on or my teams are being asked for or asking IT for, and the result of those projects. At the same time, now being able to say, let me look at my telephony-based services. Let me understand cell phones I have within my groups, what other charges are out there, the phone calls being made by my various team members within my teams, right? Being able to do that, all of that is in one single umbrella, and being able to provide the transparency to that at the lowest level of detail. So by way of example, I can now see here are, all the phone calls or all the wireless calls that are being made by my staff. Let me understand what they're working on, how they're working on, and ensure they're being productive. So again, a great use case here that we're seeing a huge uptick in the market where our customers are coming in and saying, look, we're seeing you providing all these services. We want to bring them all together under a single umbrella. And thank you, Upland, for doing that, because you're able to achieve some economies of scale as well as provide that value through here. So again, really great examples here. We've got another one as well for you as I'll kind of move on. State agency, okay, came to us probably, I think, about 2 years ago. Big organization, big IT organization located on the West Coast. And they had a need for, again, very similar, being able to provide a telephony view along with an IT view out to the various agencies that they support. Okay, they had different vendors doing it. Believe it or not, they had a TEM provider who was doing it. They signed up with this TEM provider probably a better part of 10 years ago, and they had outgrown the TEM provider, and they were putting Band-Aids upon a Band-Aids upon a Band-Aids to provide that information to their customer base. At the same time, they built an in-house system probably about 10, 15 years ago on an IBM mainframe that would actually do the charging out of all the IT services. So we were able to come in. We're able to get them off that old IBM mainframe system, right? It was, I know mainframes were supposed to disappear about 15 years ago, right? They're still out there today. Many organizations still use them in a very big way, but it wasn't beneficial to them because they had nobody supporting it anymore. So we were able to move them over very quickly to our ITFM solution suite, bring in the telecom aspect, which we're doing that as well. And now the agencies have full transparency into everything IT. Huge value, because what they've been able to do is reduce costs within the organization. They realized that there was a tremendous amount of duplicity out there, that agencies had multiple devices, and even to the case where staff members or employees left the organization, but their incumbent systems they were using at the time were not properly validating that. So now we were able to come in here at Upland and show them, hey, this person left the organization, or they changed agencies, they moved around, able to update their system. We were able to get that information in near real time and actually clean up a lot of their inventory. So again, really, really huge value as we're seeing this being brought together, because it kind of, as I said earlier, it allows organizations to bring in those different ecospheres of excellence together and provide essentially a holistic view across the entire organization of all those costs, where they are. And let me tell you, another benefit of this too is when it comes to planning and forecasting, okay, what we're seeing is that historically within ITFM solutions, telecom was kind of as more of a line item, if you will, right, when you did your planning. Well, now, as you bring in the whole telecom expense management piece of it, you're able to get to a lower level of detail when it comes to planning and forecasting. And a lot of customers are seeing the value in that, because now they're able to plan at the lowest level, whether it's at the department level or even at the employee level. Okay, I'm looking to expand my staff within this group, and I'm going to need this many widgets, telecom widgets, or whatever. Being able to do that from a planning perspective has huge value as well. So, very long story here, I know, but really seeing some great space, some great pickup in the market as it relates to these various services and bringing them together. Right? And then ultimately, what it allows organizations to do is essentially prioritize their investments. Right? Once you have that holistic view of everything within your organization, you can now get greater insight into who's using what, where it is, and be able to essentially rationalize that information out there. All right, prioritize your investments. So by way of example, if you take a look, I've got, my communication method, or devices, whatever it may be, they're aged. Right? Maybe I've got older wireless devices out there that it's time to refresh them. Right? So being able to kind of prioritize that through that holistic view of seeing everything together, or even taking a look at where everything is from a telecom or communications perspective, and then say, hey, look, does it make sense to start investing in newer technology within the organization, right? Because it's either, we may be on age technology, or maybe there's some better opportunities out there to really kind of invest and really get greater value. cost optimization. Again, another amazing thing we're finding is that end user services is typically the lowest lying fruit or low lying fruit on the tree when it comes to avoiding waste and getting rid of duplicity. It's just constantly one of the key things we'll typically find whenever we bring a new client on board is within a 30 to 40 day period, being able to identify a lot of duplicity within the organization, you can drive that cost takeout very quickly and achieve some great savings there as well. And then reducing your technology investments, right? Eliminating that risk. Well, once you understand where everything is and what you own and kind of being able to kind of get that view into it, now you're able to say, you know what, hey, let me look to the future. What is it I need to do to ensure that I am constantly on the cutting edge with providing products and services out there in the space that are competitive, okay? And do I have technology that perhaps may be holding me back, right? We find that very often with customers in that they don't realize that there is shadow IT out there or shadow telecom, all right? A group went out there and bought a whole bunch of stuff that they didn't know about, right? And you typically will not find that until you really start bringing all of these best practices together and these service offerings together, really to get that investment risk analysis to be able to understand where everything is, where you need to go, and then what you want to be, in the future. So really great stuff here, folks. I know we're running a little long here. I'm going to actually pass it back to Dana, and he's going to kind of talk about next steps here with regards to Upland and where we are. So Dana, I'll pass it back to you.
Thank you, Bob. Great information that we've shared, and we look forward to anyone who is interested spending a little bit of time visiting us in our virtual booth. Upland has a lot of resources available as well as a giveaway. So we welcome questions and any feedback, any conversation that anyone would like to have, and we look forward to speaking with you. And in closing, a big thank you again to Hyun and the Amalgam Insights team for hosting this event. And we're excited and look forward to speaking with everyone moving forward. Thank you again.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you for attending our panel today. Our speakers will be in the chat room until the end of the session time, so please feel free to follow up with them on any questions you may have. Please join us for the rest of our sessions. Visit our sponsors Mobicord, Upland Software, Vision Wireless, and WidePoint, and hang out with us in the networking lounge.